That was Donald Trump being asked about a video that he posted on his social media platform yesterday where he called for a unified Reich after it says on the video, "What's next for America?" And Donald Trump did not want to answer that question as he entered his criminal trial. His trial's nearing its end. The prosecution rested yesterday. The defense has rested today after disastrous testimony by defense witness Robert Costello, who Trump's own lawyers did not want to call. It's being reported, our sources tell us as well, Donald Trump made his legal team call Robert Costello, who got absolutely obliterated on the stand. And while Donald Trump does not want to talk about the video that he posted, and he's blaming a lower level staffer for posting this video calling for a unified Reich. I mean, how horrific. Donald Trump did say that the defense would be resting as he arrived at his criminal trial. But he said while the defense was going to be resting, that he himself would not be resting because he says he never rests. Here, play this clip.
Here I am. I will be doing something in the morning and then probably coming back in the afternoon, and we'll be resting pretty quickly. Resting meaning resting the case. I won't be resting. I don't rest. I'd like to rest sometimes, but I don't get to rest. But we are...
By the way, Donald Trump's been sleeping about 80% of the time at this criminal trial. Multiple sources in the court, beginning with Maggie Haberman, many weeks back, 5.5, 6 weeks back, started reporting how Donald Trump would continue to fall asleep in the courtroom, full-fledged sleeping taking place. In addition, Donald Trump then continued to whine that the crowds outside, that they're not being allowed near the courthouse, he says, and that the court staff, Donald Trump claims, is only allowing what Donald Trump says left lunatics to show up, but are not allowing Donald Trump supporters. Now, entirely false, egregious propaganda, just complete and total lies. But let me just show you what Donald Trump said. Play this clip.
And you see it, the crowds outside, we can't get, it's not a very big thing for us. We don't really care that much. But people want to get out there, and you have all police. The only people that are let out there is the radical left lunatics. And they put our people 4 or 5 blocks away. There are a lot of them too. But I say that doesn't matter. What matters is what's going on in this courthouse. So thank you very much. We'll be back a little bit later. Thank you.
So why did you post that video about the unified Reich? How did that get on your website?
Why won't you testify, Mr. Trump?
Always interesting.
And just so you could see in front of the courthouse today, this was the Donald Trump supporters who were there. And you can see, you can get up to the courthouse. We previously had Michael Popak from Legal AF show up when Donald Trump was saying this and show that anybody can go to the courthouse. By the way, you saw how Donald Trump would have his red tie brigade who would get their outfits from Dictators R Us, the MAGA Republicans in Congress, to show up. They'd hold their press conferences outside the courthouse. But let me just show you this quick clip. This was outside from earlier today. Donald Trump then continues his whining as he arrived at his criminal trial today before the defense rested. And he again called the room freezing. He said he was in an icebox, and he says that he's there suffering in an icebox that is the courtroom for 300 million Americans. Play this clip.
Every single scholar says there's been no crime, he's done nothing wrong. And I'm fighting for 300 million people. I mean, I have no choice. It's not that I like doing this, sitting in an icebox all day for 7, 8, 9 hours. And it's a very cold room, I will tell you that. But I'm doing this because our country needs it. Our Constitution's under threat. Our country needs it. So here I am.
Okay, again, the courthouse is not even cold. Okay, as Katie Fang, who's in the courthouse, and multiple other sources in the courthouse, the courtroom is actually warm. In the first few days, the court was cold. They've since changed the temperature. It's warm inside the courthouse. And I think there may be a serious medical issue going on there with Donald Trump, to the extent he keeps on saying that he is cold, he keeps falling asleep. I think it's fitting a pattern right there of continuing conduct right there. Donald Trump then says that one of the problems in the court itself is that there are all these kangaroos. And he says that we just can't have all of these kangaroos in the court, because he's saying it's the judicial system, it's a kangaroo court, but there are all these kangaroos. And he's going to be hopeful that the appellate division is going to step in and do something with all of these kangaroos. Play this clip.
Is saying there's no crime. There's no crime. It's a kangaroo court. There's never been anything like this that I've ever seen. Now I have 2 other trials that were kangaroo courts also. It's stacked up. And hopefully appellate division will take care of those things because they're, egregious. And the problem is that New York is really on trial itself. The whole world is watching. They're seeing what's happening. And you can't use conflicted judges. This is a conflicted judge, highly conflicted judge. And you just can't do that. You just cannot allow that to happen because you ruin the whole system. The whole system comes tumbling down. And New York, look, I love New York. This is where I grew up. I was born here. I grew up here. And I see what's happening with this judicial system. And it's just, they call it all kangaroos. And we just can't have it. And I think the appellate courts can take care of a lot of things. But this one shouldn't even get to an appellate court. This should be an easy.
By the way, going back to Donald Trump's statement about this unified Reich, remember, yesterday he posted this video, this unified Reich. I mean, it's horrific stuff. As you know from watching the MeidasTouch network, this is not an aberration. Donald Trump continues to use rhetoric that is actually very similar to the type of rhetoric that Hitler uses, almost kind of direct quotes. Also, we've always reported here in the MeidasTouch network that Donald Trump, he's posted over 1,000 QAnon memes on his social media platform. And I thought it was important that I pointed that out as well. I mean, I just showed a sample right here, but this is the type of thing that he posts every single day. Here, Hillary Clinton chimed in. Hillary Clinton says, oh, this is grifter Hitler in action. It was what Hillary Clinton said. And as Donald Trump tries to blame that it was Donald Trump since has removed that video from his social media platform, and they said it was posted by a low-level staffer and that this was not a campaign video. That's what they're saying. But you remember the video we posted just, 2 weeks ago at this point, where Donald Trump specifically said that the only people who can post on his social media are him and Dan Scavino, and that nobody else has access to make these posts. So it was either him or Scavino who made the post. Also, during the criminal trial, when Hope Hicks testified, she also testified, and Donald Trump's executive assistant testified during this criminal trial that the only people who had access to Trump's social media were Dan Scavino, Trump's deputy chief of staff, and now works at the campaign, as well as Donald Trump here. But this is what Donald Trump said at Mar-a-Lago just, 2 weeks ago? Play this clip.
It started off with Dan Scavino. I said, Dan, how do you work this thing? And I started dictating. I began by dictating to Dan and a couple of other people that we had, but they weren't Dan. And I'd dictate something. And all of a sudden, people started following. And then on occasion, like about once every 3 years, Dan wouldn't be around because he was hoser. I couldn't get rid of this guy. I call him the most powerful man in politics because he's the only one that has my number. He could say, I don't like you, voters. I don't like you at all. I'm fed up with you. I can't stand you. And that's the end of my political career. Dan's the only one that can do that. Where are you, Dan? Most powerful man in politics, I say. The most powerful. He's the only one that can do it without... he can press it. Linda, he's got the number. Even Linda doesn't have it, although I'd give it to you. I trust you implicitly. I'd give it to you. But Dan could say something horrible. He could say something very sexually oriented. And that would end it, okay? That would end it. But he hasn't done that, and he won't do it.
This is a statement from Donald Trump's deputy press secretary right here, Sarah Matthews. Sarah Matthews states that Trump's continued use of Nazi rhetoric is un-American and despicable, yet too many Americans are brushing off the glaring red flags about what could happen if he returns to the White House. And again, that's Donald Trump's own press secretary, own former deputy press secretary right there, you know, giving that warning. So that's what happened in trial today. Then Donald Trump rested his case. He didn't fall asleep, he wants you to know. He rested his case. I'll do a more fulsome hot take on Robert Costello's cross-exam, but I'll give you the short of it right now, which is that Robert Costello had previously testified that he didn't care about Donald Trump's interests at all. He was focused purely on helping Michael Cohen's interest. And then Costello was shown all of these documents on a very effective cross-examination by the prosecutor, Susan Hoffinger, where Costello's calling Cohen an a-hole and saying, how do we get this a-hole to do what Trump wants him to do, what Trump wants him to do? So it put a nice bow and ribbon on the entire case that the prosecution was trying to show, that Donald Trump was trying to cover all of this up. That backfired miserably for the prosecution, but that's Donald Trump entering the courthouse. We'll keep you posted with more. And of course, what a horrific thing for him to making video posts about unified Reichs and then blames it on a staffer. And anyway, it's horrible, horrible stuff right there. We'll keep you posted as we learn more here on the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support, and have a wonderful day.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.